What's done is done. Have you not been out there? Yeah.
Lloyd, speak into your microphone all the time so people can hear you.
Yeah, everybody has to make sure they talk in the microphone because it's too hard to minutes. I can't hear people. So yeah, and I got into you, which I'm happy about.
Thanks.
Because Methodist Hospital, 50% of that is saved for COVID patients, so I'm pretty sure I don't want to be there. I like the view, that's where they took me out. I like it there, it's nice. Okay, we're good to go.
So we'll call this Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Wednesday, July 8th to order. Roll call.
Lloyd Johnson, liaison.
Tracy Graham.
Sylvia Henry,
Deb Belter.
Ryan Goodman. Justin Emery. Mike Scanlon.
So now we will stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now entertain a motion for approval of agenda.
I'll make a motion for approval of agenda. I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I will now entertain a motion for approval of minutes from the June 10th, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes written, as written for the June meeting.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of the minutes from the June 10th, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I will now close the regular Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and open the public hearing.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a public hearing for a planned unit development amendment up in Forest Creek neighborhood. This is an amendment from a PUD that was originally approved in 2004. There's 10 lots up in that area that we're going to be talking about tonight. So that PUD was originally approved in 2004, and at the time, the plat included 5 twin homes to be constructed on those 10 lots. And in 2016, the PUD was updated to do 10 single-family homes in lieu of the 5 twin homes. So the current owner has come back with a second amendment to the PUD to do a different model of single-family home. So the site is zoned R1 single-family district with a PUD district overlay. The lot is adjacent to single-family homes on the east, south, and west sides, as well as Outlot B to the north, and as well as agricultural uses to the north of that outlot. So the main change here is with the setbacks. The original, or not the original, but the 2016 plan that was approved had setbacks of 13 feet and 7.5 feet on each side, alternating each side. And I should point out too that there is a 5 feet of community area between that shorter setback. So the single-family homes are going to be between 26 feet and 15 feet apart from that 2016 plan. So the new plan is going to reduce those setbacks to 7.5 feet and 5 feet. So the buildings will be between 15 feet and 17 and a half feet apart. Almost all of them being 15 feet. There's one or two that are going to be a little bit more than that, just with the way the road curves. So there's no changes to the easements that are currently there. There are a few easements, including the outlot and also an access to that outlot. All of the new proposed building heights are compliant with the R1 single-family district. The new plan is actually a Rambler style home, which is being changed from the current approved plan, which is a 2-story home. So all of the building heights are still compliant. The proposed plan will be compliant with the city's requirement that each home have 2 parking spaces. All the homes the home that they're proposing is a 2-car garage, so that requirement is met. The curb cut access, all the homes do meet the city's requirements for curb cut and also distance of driveway. That all the driveways need to be distance apart. They're compliant in that regard. The landscaping, I'll propose in my conditions of approval that we'll just continue the original developer's agreement from 2004, which requires sod or seed and also 1 tree to be planted on each lot. The city engineer has recommended that the applicant does submit a revised grading and draining plan as part of the building code review. The grading and drainage plan will, for the most part, remain the same, but because the footprint is changing a little bit, they will need to provide a new updated plan. I did send an application to the fire department and also the building official to get their feedback on the new setbacks. I didn't hear any objection from either of those departments. I did call and leave a voicemail with the fire department last week, and I didn't hear back, so I'll count that as no objection from them. In regards to the PUD requirements that the city's zoning ordinance has, there's really only one concern that I found, and that is it's on page 15 in your packet, section M. These reduced lots don't meet the R1 single-family district setbacks, so that's the only real concession here that the PUD is asking for. It should be noted that the 2016 plan didn't meet that requirement either, and this is just a continuation of that essentially. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the PUD amendment with the conditions that are outlined in your report. That can be found on page 16 of your packet. I have 6 conditions, with the 7th being other comments by staff, which I did not receive any other than the engineering comments, which is its own conditions. So with that, I can answer questions from the commission.
So as far as the setback goes, because that seems to be the only issue here, as far as future development goes, are we basically setting a precedent that says we're going to allow these setbacks to happen? Because it seems to me we are.
So a PUD, the intent of a PUD is that this project is not going to be repeated anywhere in the city, and that's why it's PUD rather than its own. Rather than creating a new zoning district for these lots, we're doing a PUD. When a PUD says this is the only spot in the city that's going to follow these parameters.
No other Rambler style. This is 1 story, right? It's all no basement,
Yeah.
grade.
Yeah, there's basement.
Basement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the home style I could see being used elsewhere in the typical single family district. But as far as the reduced lot size and then having the common area, that would be unique to this project.
Because of the size of the lot that they're dealing with.
Yeah, the undersized lot is a bit of a mystery to staff right now.
So the preserve, over there at the preserve, the lots are bigger than the lots these guys are dealing with. Is that correct?
I haven't looked at the preserve too deeply lately, but that sounds.
You just said it was unique.
Yeah.
So I'm asking.
Yeah.
Another development, but you have no idea whether that is unique or or not. So my question goes back, are we setting a precedent? If we have lot sizes the same out there as he's dealing, that R1's dealing with, I don't mean to keep pointing at you with R1. Are we getting into the same issue there?
So the preserve is platted a little bit differently. They're 8-unit, they're currently 8-unit buildings
They want to
there.
change it. Like, this has happened the third time with this.
If we were to decline the amendment, then they could just go back to the 2016 approval, which
Right.
is a little bit smaller home
Mhm.
and 2-story.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about future, I'm talking about what goes on in the future of the city. And are we gonna be bound by setbacks like this?
I don't think so, because the PUD is supposed to be unique
Okay.
to this project, but yeah, I understand your concern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Okay.
The PUD is supposed to be unique to the project, and the intent is that it's not going to be repeated anywhere
I
else.
get intent.
Yeah.
I completely
Well,
get
what if
intent.
somebody does want to do that? Like they just keep going, no, like you guys did it here, I want to do it too. And we tell them no.
Don't our city have ordinance as far as the lot size can be? It's supposed to be like 8,000 or 10,000 feet for a single family home.
Yeah, these
This
are,
ain't gonna meet that.
no, these are about
So
half of what's
So why have ordinances if we aren't gonna go by them?
Well, that's already happened.
Yeah.
That's happening now, but I completely agree with you. That, I don't know why they let this go before. But eventually, these are the things that come up later and that we have to deal with. So I'm wondering, is someone else down the road gonna have to deal with the same thing? Because we said yes, for instance, to this.
I don't think so, because
Well-
typically planning and zoning issues are supposed to be dealt with on an individual basis and not use precedents.
No offense, but I don't think so. It's not very comfortable in what we're talking about. Shouldn't we look at the lots of the preserve, for instance, to see, are we gonna deal with the same kind of subject? If someone comes in and wants to change what they want to do there? Or not? Or am I just barking up the wrong tree?
I don't think so. I agree with you.
So, my suggestion is do a little bit more research on this and find out if that's the case or not. Because I'm not interested in setting a precedent that allows us to make it tighter and tighter and tighter. Number one, when people move out to the country, that's not necessarily what they want, to be stacked on like they were in the city. So, my opinion is, I'd like to see a little bit more information on this. Not against R1, I'm not against any of that, but,
Yeah, one other thing we gotta think about is the residents that are out there, that have got nice sized lots. You're gonna put these small shacks in there, and it's gonna devalue their property too. And the twin homes across the road, I don't know why you don't build twin homes, because across the road are those twin homes. And, they look nice, there's a lot of green space in between them and everything else.
There's
So
more
I-
demand for
What's that?
there's more of a demand for the detached Rambler style than that have twin homes. That's what we're finding. And they bring better price, so that increases all the values of the twin homes across the street.
yeah, and I can see what you're saying.
A lot of people want a Rambler detached home versus together. That's what we're finding. And of course, they're more expensive to build, but then it's going to increase the value across the street and everywhere around there.
But we got an ordinance too, we can't have playthings like boats and fishing equipment or huts in front of the garage, only one, and then they gotta build a pad on the other side, and that pad has gotta be built to hold the trailer or whatever they're gonna put there, and that's gotta be, 4 or 6 feet from the property line. Well, that's never gonna go either.
From what we've been building, we haven't, there hasn't been any boats or anything on the towns are single family, yes, but not on this project that we're doing there. We don't have any.
The single families are the ones that got all the extra stuff, boats and campers.
Yeah, and again, my issue is not with what you're building. split level or whatever, you know, walkout ramp or whatever, that's not it. My issue is with changing the setbacks. That's my problem, so. I would make a motion, well,
Well, we should have public test, this is a public hearing, so we'll need public testimony too.
Did we hear anybody from the area out there?
I took a couple of phone calls on this project, and most of them were people just gathering information. I did have one resident that was concerned about protecting that whole lot to the north. I reassured them that silt fences will be required for construction. And then we did get a letter, a hand.
Yeah, where's that letter? Why don't you read that letter?
Okay, so we just got this.
She just dropped it off today.
Okay, I thought this was through email.
Well, Deb should have a copy of it, because she sent it to the office, she told me.
Yeah, I have a copy of it.
Yeah, okay, well, read it.
Brian is going to.
Yeah.
Has it.
Okay, this is actually addressed to the city council, but we'll read it here tonight, because I think she meant planning commission. I'm unable to attend tonight's meeting due to my husband's vulnerability with COVID-19, but as a resident of Forest Creek, I wish to express my opposition to the request to change, for a change by Paxmar in the setbacks originally approved in 2016. The change will involve a much denser build in this development, moving from 5 buildings originally approved to 10 buildings in the same space. I am probably tilting at the windmills, but I strongly believe that denser building is not good for communities. It does not allow much people space. There are no plans that I know of to include space for children to play who are all around this development, and no safe access to walkways for older people who will buy these properties, as there is no crosswalk. Safety is an issue, as I observe many kids riding their bikes on the sidewalk. In addition, denser building, while perhaps being an economic boon of sorts to developers and the city, presents some hazards to the people who live in these homes. There will be an increased street parking with no extra room, and an increased fire hazard when buildings are placed so closely together, and density concerns as we live in an age of pandemics. I have not ever even mentioned the issue of aesthetics. Dense building is usually not very good aesthetically pleasing if one values green space. As a teacher of over 40 years, I certainly understand that changing a plan sometimes is necessary. I have had to change classroom plans yearly, monthly, daily, or even hourly. However, I also know that crowding more people into smaller spaces is generally not a good thing. I do not see the need to create dense housing in this area, but with these kinds of setbacks. Housing density does not create closeness. It instead creates many problems, in my opinion. I urge the council to table this issue until it can be discussed, the implications of approving these setbacks and what it might mean to the city of Montrose and its future. Thank you, and that's from Barbara Riddle. And she didn't give her address on here, but...
She lives right across the street.
Yeah.
Because I talked to her, and I talked also to, they were there too, from her called me just minutes before I come to the meeting, that too, they too opposed that, and they were talking about, you know, going to create all those kids there, and there's, you know, just that one sidewalk on one side, and they got across the street, and somebody had asked for a crosswalk with the buildings they got out there now, and they were denied a crosswalk. I don't know if I believe this or not, but that's what I was told.
I did get the impression from talking to a few residents that some of them were unaware that there is already 10 lots there. They are already platted and approved from 2004. The impression I got is some people felt that was all open space at the moment. So there was a little bit of a disconnect.
Did you answer my question? How big are the lots?
They're, I want to say 4,200 square feet.
I don't know why we got ordinances in this stuff.
What's the width and the length of them?
52 and a half by 92 and a half.
No, we can't never see that. It was approved for one building on 8,000 square feet.
Do we have any public comment in regards to this? Any further comments from commissioners?
Well, if they're going to go with these homes, I think we should put a stipulation in there that they have to insulate both houses on the inside where the green space is, and also inside of the garage and
You mean fireproof?
for fire hazard, fireproofing.
I just don't think it's a very good idea.
My suggestion is we table this until we can get a little more information. And the information I'd like to see is how this relates to, for instance, the preserve.
How is this benefiting Montrose?
Huh?
What's the benefit to Montrose essentially?
If you're going to speak at the public hearing, you have to stand up here, and I need your name and your address, please.
My name is Angela Sloan-Forman. I am at 946 Breckenridge, straight across the street. And I'm just wondering, what the benefit would be, because I don't know if it's really legit. I'm just curious.
Well, the benefit to building is obvious,
Yeah, putting more people in there, but I mean.
But to change the setbacks, that's why I want to table this and get more information, because I not only that, but again, I'm worried about what kind of precedent this is going to set for future building in the city.
Impacting
And
more
I just think we need a little more information.
So how long is the driveways, did you say?
They vary in length, but they're about, well, that doesn't tell me the full length of them. There's 25 feet plus another, about 10 feet or so. So they're around 35 feet, depending on which lot.
You don't know that for sure, you're guessing that, right?
Well, the plan shows 25 feet to this line right here, which is, I don't know what that's trying to show me. And then to the curb, it's another about 10 feet or so. And then again, it varies depending on the lots. And that goes, so they're about 35 feet is the shortest one I can find. They're all kind of right in that same range.
That's about halfway down the lot then. If I look there today, it looked like they're the stakes were a lot closer. I mean, we don't want to end up with something like down there by Rockbrook, where they park a pickup on the driveway and half of it is out the street. So that's something that should be looked into there too.
I guess if I can speak quick, I can just speak for a number of my neighbors.
Could you come up to the microphone?
Sure. I just think that, I mean, I feel like I speak for a number of my neighbors who maybe didn't show up or didn't feel comfortable showing up, but I can tell you that packing additional amount of people in that area back there is not, the benefit that you think is coming from it won't end up being a benefit. The thought of, I don't know, back me up here guys, the thought of putting even more people back there, I moved there in 2008. And before that, I lived at my parents' Pat Sloan, right across the Menda, up the hill there, the farm. And I've lived here all my life, and, you know, I moved into those townhomes because it wasn't that packed. It was a nice little area, a little pocket back there, and all I've seen is more and more and more and more and more and more and more people go in there. And it's to the point, we have to lock all our doors. My garage got robbed right out of it. And it was just, we found someone in our backyard. And I don't feel like having more people in there. I've always been somebody who likes to know who I live around. And, you know, keep in touch with my neighbors, and it's getting to the point where we can't. And to make a change just to think that you guys can make more money or whatever it is, I don't know, I'm not that, you know, I just know that having more people out there is bad idea. And I speak for a large group of their neighbors that they would be packing them into. But, I mean, we'll probably speak their numbers, but I just felt like I needed to show up and at least say what a lot of people are saying, and some of them didn't want to show up because COVID or whatever. But, yeah, I guess that's really the main reason I'm here. I mean, this is, you're talking about something happening right across the street. I don't know on the front door, I can see. Right now, I actually like what I see on my front door, but, because it's just not populated. And I know that's going to change, I knew that all along. But I just don't like the idea of packing even more. Because that's the, generally speaking, I mean, that's the goal, right?
No, the density is not changing. So there's 10 lots there before, and there's
What is changing? So what is changing then?
the setbacks. The home design, which changes the setbacks.
So that has to
Instead
be
of five,
closer, is
so
that?
instead of 5 twin homes, you're gonna have 10 separate homes.
Yeah, it's all the same.
It's all the same number of homes, they're just gonna be separated.
You're gonna have the same amount of families.
Right.
Just gonna have more
Okay.
single-family houses.
Right.
Okay, so, I mean,
It's the distance between.
Which are gonna bring the value up of your home, because these are more expensive than those single. The cheaper to build twin, but there's a big demand for what we're trying to do here. And it's gonna bring the value of your home up more. You're gonna get the same number of buildings there, that's all right there.
okay, that would be good for when I sell it. Thanks.
It would.
What else are you with? You got a background where?
So any of your neighbors, say anything much about it?
Yeah, actually, what they've said is that,
You know what? Unless someone
gonna-
comes to speak personally, we can't,
Right.
we can't take comments from other people.
And if I could, it's not, like we've been saying, the lots are already, we know how many, you know, what the density is gonna be. That's not gonna change. And the only thing I see that's an issue are the setbacks. Correct?
Yeah,
That's
that's
the only thing
correct.
that's changing.
They're changing the home design, which
I
changes the
understand
setbacks,
that.
yeah.
What we're talking about here, we don't care about the design of the home. That's not our point. The point is, the setbacks don't match the ordinance, right?
That's right.
Okay, so, let's deal with that.
So any further comments in regards to the PUD that's before us tonight from the public or commissioners? Okay, hearing no further comment in regards to that, I'm going to move on to the public hearing and considering an ordinance amendment related to mobile food units.
You have to.
Don't we have to go back
I'll make
to
a motion that we table.
Well, we got them both in public hearings, so
Okay.
we have them both at a public hearing, so we can finish one and we'll close the public hearing and then we'll go back to our commission meeting
Okay.
to make a motion in regards to it. So I'm going to finish the public hearings and then we'll go back to, we'll close that and we'll open back up the planning and zoning meeting where I'll take motions in regards to the public hearing. Okay, so now let's move on to the ordinance amendment related to mobile food trucks. Ryan?
Thank you. So this is a public hearing to consider regulations for mobile food trucks. We had a discussion about this at the last planning commission meeting, and with the intent to hold a public hearing at this meeting. At the last meeting, I brought a draft ordinance, and the commission had requested a few changes to the draft ordinance to bring to tonight's meeting for the public hearing. And the main changes that I was asked to make was the distance from restaurants, that the food trucks must stay 500 feet away from restaurants and coffee shops as measured from the property line of the food service business. That was different, that's changed from 200 feet. And proof of insurance, food truck operators must provide proof of insurance with their application. We also wanted a requirement that Montrose Digs, as well as any festival or nonprofit festival, have their license fee waived. And that any food truck operating on city property has to haul their trash away. And then also Deb was asked to put together information on fees, and I believe you guys all received that in a separate email. So with that, I provided an updated ordinance, and that starts on, well, the main changes to it start on page 48 of your packet. And so the changes in red are what's changed from last time. And I'm open to discussion on this if we want to, if we're ready to pass this, or if there's more discussion or what have you.
Do we have any comments from the commissioners?
I have one. I apologize because I wasn't at the last meeting, but going through the packet from the other cities, I saw a lot of background checks. And is that in our ordinance? I didn't see it in our ordinance.
We talked about that and the fact that they have to go through the State Department to get their food license. Our impression is that they will be background checked with the State Department, and we wouldn't need to do it a second time because they will have had to be background checked to get a license through the state.
Okay.
So we weren't gonna pursue doing it a second time since it's already been done. That was, we had discussed
That
that.
was the only thing that I saw that seemed to be different from, you know, what we're proposing.
Yeah, and that was the discussion we had, is that they were gonna be just, you know, at the State Department, they would have a background check, so we wouldn't need to do it at the city level.
All right, perfect.
No, like the ice cream truck, if he happen to hit somebody or somebody runs in or gets run over or gets hurt.
That's his own liability. He has to take liability out, insurance out on his.
Are you sure? Because a lot of people will.
They have to provide us
They have to
with
provide us with a copy of their insurance,
Yeah.
proof of insurance.
Because a lot of people will try to sue the city.
They have to give us a certificate of insurance.
Right, and that's right in our, that's gonna be in the ordinance.
Okay. No,
That's what
that's what
was
my
listed.
question was, is, you know how happy people are about suing.
Do we have any public comment in regards to this? You want to have the microphone? Yes.
Yeah, because
Yes.
I can't hear when I do minutes if people are.
Michelle Otto, Joe Bender for that. So when you mentioned the ice cream trucks, they have to have a permit as well because they just randomly just show up at like 7 o'clock in the evening. Where are they gonna get a permit from?
City Hall.
So they would have to come like whenever. Or where are we gonna publicize this?
It's gonna be on the city webpage.
Yeah, but.
It should also go in the Wright County Journal Press.
Well, I don't know about that.
And we can put it in the newsletter when it comes out in the fall, because it'll be for people for 2021. It won't be for 2020, it'll be starting in 2021.
Right.
So if we put it in the newsletter,
It'll go on all of our social media sites that we always use
Okay.
to advertise.
So like I said, a lot of times people just go on the city page and say, hey, did the ice cream truck come out? And if they appear, what do we do then? Well, I know, but I mean, you've probably seen it. You know, people are like, hey, did you see the ice cream truck in Delano? Can we get them here? And what if they see that ice cream truck sees it and comes here? How do we?
The city's already been approached by one ice cream truck
how do we-
to get an administrative permit.
Right,
So-
okay. Okay. All right.
And as far as the information that I gave you regarding the fees, when we close the public hearing, I'd like to talk about that a little bit and get that set. Okay.
any more questions or comments from the commissioners? Any more public comment in regards to the mobile food units? If not, I will close the public hearing at 7:35 and reopen the planning and zoning meeting at 7:36. have no old business to discuss. Moving on to new business, I will entertain a motion in regards to the planned unit development amendment for Forest Creek.
Make a motion to table it.
I second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to table the consideration of a planned unit development amendment for Forest Creek, our homes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That will be tabled until we get further information from Ryan. And now we will discuss the mobile food units.
The information that I'm looking for is, how it affects future development in the city of Montrose specifically. The biggest development we have is sitting over there, which is the preserve. I believe that's the biggest one.
Yeah, they talk about just
So I would think
development sitting there.
that would be a good one to compare it to.
Which makes sense, because we don't want them to come in and find out that we changed the setbacks for this one, and they're like, oh, we can change another 50 homes in this development.
Exactly.
Well, they wouldn't be able to because that's not a PUD, that's just zone R3.
So can't they come to us and change it?
If we're doing anything to happen, this is the one thing I'm trying to say, is that we might not always be here. And they can come and ask this commission and the city council to rezone it, and they can do it. So I want some more information. We're the ones that are in charge right now, and that's what I'm looking for. So, that's what I'd like to see.
Okay, that's passed, done.
Okay, so have all the commissioners had a chance to read over the food truck information for other cities in Wright County?
Yep.
Yes.
Thoughts, comments on a fee for per day or per season pass?
Can I just interject before you guys start talking about that? We as staff talked about that at City Hall, and what we really want to do is establish just an annual fee. We don't want to do per day, we don't want to do 1 to 4 day or 5 to 10 day like Big Lake, and the reason is we don't have our own police department. And so if they come in, they pay the annual fee, and that's it. I don't have to be checking to make sure they haven't been there before. It's going to be almost impossible to do that anyways. So I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible for staff. So I would like to just establish an annual fee and leave it at that.
So what did you decide that the fee would be?
That's what
That's what you have to discuss.
What did you talk about?
Do you have a recommendation?
I was thinking, looking at some of these other ones, I was thinking maybe $200 a day,
$200
or
annual.
$200 a year. And then it would run from January 1st to December 31st.
I think it should be 500.
I think that's
I
high.
think it's high.
That's
That's
really
the problem with the high.
Between the three.
I can tell you that places like Delano or even places like Big Lake, I manage the program in Big Lake, and they get a lot of food trucks. We're talking almost every day of the week in the summertime, they have a food truck there. So I think that's why theirs is higher. We don't have them here in town that much, and I think that we're not gonna get them if we do it too high.
Yeah, I don't think that, I think the higher you market yourself out if you get a high amount.
Well, especially if you don't have a per day.
Right.
Yeah, if you go 500, you're just killing.
Yeah,
You won't get anybody.
And again, you're right, we don't have much here, so as time goes on, we can always change the fee.
Right.
So I agree to keep it low, somewhat low. It's not like we're gonna make shit ton off it anyway.
It's not like we're gonna have a ton of food trucks
Right,
anyway, so it's not like we're gonna roll in $10,000.
Right, and if all of a sudden we become a food truck mecca,
Right.
then we can change the rules. I mean, the next year you'll just increase the fee, but I agree with keeping it low. So I don't have a problem with $200 a season. Myself.
Discussion from other commissioners, thoughts, comments? I will entertain a motion in regards to the annual fee.
I'll make a motion that we make the annual fee $200 from January 1st to December 31st.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded for the annual fee for the food trucks be $200 for January 1st to December 31st. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. I would like to
Just real quick clarify with you too, just so everybody knows, that fee does not go in this ordinance. What that fee does is go, do we reference it in the ordinance that there will be an annual fee?
Yeah, it says in there that the fee is set by council.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's set by our fee schedule that we do annually, okay?
In regards to the application, do you guys want to, we don't have to do anything with that, you guys can make one up and it can be approved? Or do we say we like one of the other cities, or? does
Our
it-
efficient city planner has already done that,
Oh, even better.
and it's very nice.
Okay,
And original.
so then we don't have to discuss any of that. Thank you, Ryan. City planner updates.
I'm currently working with the developer on the preserve, and they're asking for some information on the original approvals from out there, so I've been working on that this week and expect to continue to work on that here in the next few weeks, so hopefully we'll have something of substance the next planning commission meeting. Not an application, but more,
Information.
yeah.
How about the old Casey's building? Anything ever happen with that? Did that just go into the wayside?
There's nothing happening with that as far as I know. They haven't reached out to me, and I did email them. It was probably like a couple months ago, and I didn't hear back, so that's on hold.
Miles would contact them too on several occasions, and they just don't get back to us,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's been my experience too.
Do we have any further business to come before this planning and zoning commission meeting for Wednesday, July 8th, 2020? Our next meeting is slated for August 12th, 2020, pending information that needs to be gathered by Ryan. And if it cannot be done by that point, we will not meet again until September, so we will notify everybody on that. Pending if we have anything we need to, that's very important that we discuss in August, or if we can delay it to September. So we will let everybody know in regards to that meeting for August. Okay. Hearing no further business before this meeting, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn this planning and zoning commission meeting at 7:43. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
All right.